number you have dialed is not in service at this time.
Welcome to Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Patrick Cristiano, your host, the publisher of TheaterLife.com, a website for theater buffs covering Broadway and off-Broadway theater and everything theater here in the Hamptons. And today, I'm coming to you from the LTV studio where I have a very special guest, Alan O'Reilly, the Education Director and Community Outreach Director of Bay Street.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome, Alan.
Thank you so much, Patrick.
You have a really special event that's coming up on October 3rd, next Saturday.
Yes, we do.
It's Shakespeare and Supper.
Right. Yes, Shakespeare and Supper. It's going to be at the Christ Episcopal Church, 5 Hampton Street. It is lunch or an early evening supper, if you will, supplied by Callista, and Shakespeare selections, sonnets, scenes, and soliloquies from Shakespeare. We're calling the whole program The Teeming Autumn, which is actually a quote from a sonnet that will be featured in the program.
Which sonnet do you remember?
Yeah, it's sonnet number 97. It's very apropos for the fall or the winter. We'll also have selections from Hamlet, Macbeth, I guess I can say that in a television studio, Henry V.
It's safe.
It's okay.
It's safe in a television studio. Do you want to talk about the whole event? You want to talk about the people that are
absolutely.
First?
Absolutely, sure.
Because you put this whole event together.
I did.
And how long has it taken you to do this?
Well, I've got a Shakespeare background. I was education director at a Shakespeare
No, I need to do this particular event right now.
To do this particular event?
I mean,
well, we did one before. We did this version before at a supporter donor of Bay Street's back in July, early August, I think it was. So that was more of a summer event. And so when Scott said, we want to do it again, and we want to do it as a fundraiser, Scott Schwartz, our artistic director, it was an easy tweak. I just had to find a couple of speeches that were more pertinent to autumn than the summer. So, it took me, a couple of days.
So you've got a little cachet. You can keep doing this, or you just have to find
we were just discussing the possibility
of
that.
Different actors. You can do a rotating
exactly
kind of thing. Because audience, the rub is it's all sold out. Yes, because it's socially distanced and there's like only 50 seats.
That's exactly right, Patrick.
And
yeah.
So the only way, if there's a cancellation, you'll go to the baystreet.org, look at the website, and they'll post something if their seats can be had or available. I mean, is there any way to make it available to film it, or is that talked about?
Well, we were just talking about that a second ago. I think that would be a fine idea to get it filmed and perhaps share it from our website with the wonderful folks around here.
We could talk to LTV afterwards.
Yeah,
and see what they might
we've got connections, so maybe we can make that work out.
Well, let's. Now you are going to participate yourself with your wife.
Right, exactly.
Tessa DeBarry, is that your
Teresa DeBarry. Yeah, Teresa and I are both actors. We met in acting class. We've been married for 34 years.
Class?
The Alliance Theater in Atlanta, Georgia. We were given 2 love scenes back to back.
Are you both Southerners?
No, I'm from Philly, but she's from Charlotte. And But I ended up in Atlanta for my internship, and they gave us a couple of love scenes, and that's all it took. That's all it took. And now they don't assign those scenes to just anybody anymore. So that's all it took. Caesar and Cleopatra.
Do you remember what the love scene was?
Yeah, it was a thing called the Rope Dancers. I don't know if it's done.
Who's it by?
Oh, it's a good question. It's been a long time, but it's a nice little piece, but it had a very intimate scene, and we couldn't fake it, and we rehearsed a lot. So that's all it took. And then another scene from Caesar and Cleopatra by Shaw. So we did those 2 scenes, and one thing led to another, 2 children later, and here we are 34 years later in the Hamptons.
Bravo.
Yeah. Yeah, it is bravo. I don't know how she puts up with me. Anyway.
I don't know. So let's talk about who else is going.
Sure.
Let's going to be. You have Amanda Christian Nichols.
Yes, Amanda.
No, we have a picture of Amanda.
Yeah.
Let's see her. And
Amanda's wonderful. She did the last reading that we did in the summer, and I know she's worked a lot at Bay Street.
What was the last reading? Refresh me on
this was the thing that we did, the summer version of the Shakespeare sonnets and the scenes. And Amanda was recently in The Great Gatsby. And prior to that, I know she did The Last Night of Ballyhoo, and is just a wonderful actor.
She's wonderful. I've seen her.
Yes, she
perform.
is. Yes, she is. And so
She's
fabulous
very
and
lovely.
versatile.
Lovely.
And she's going to do a great job. She's got some great speeches to do.
And then you have Xavier Pacheco.
Yeah, I don't know Xavier. I'll meet him tomorrow on our Zoom
He's an
rehearsal.
NYU grad.
He's actually presently at NYU. I don't know what sort of capacity that is right now. It's probably a lot of Zoom classes. He also has attended the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, so a lot of Shakespeare and classical work in his background. And he's going to be doing Hamlet and Henry V speeches once more under the breach, dear friends. So Will Pomerantz, our associate artistic director,
Yes.
suggested him. So obviously
Will
he
has
trusts.
a great eye. Yes, Will has
Yes,
a great
he
eye.
trusts Xavier. So I'm very excited to work
His
with
show
him.
was actually the last show I saw
Oh.
before COVID
Oh, boy.
shut down all of theater, About Love, the production
Oh,
that they did
right.
at the Sheen Center.
That's right.
It was wonderful.
I'm
too.
sure. I'm
Yeah.
sorry I didn't get to see it.
We covered it. We did a little.
Oh,
bit.
how
It was-
fabulous.
it
How
was
awesome.
wonderful. And then you have Trent Saunders,
Yes.
Che from
Yes.
Evita, the
Yes,
2000.
I'm so
which was
excited to work with
wonderful. And then
him.
he went to London and reprised the
That's
role.
right.
Under a whole new director.
That's
He was-
exactly right.
That production.
He's an
and
amazing actor.
Everybody in that production was wonderful. It was really special.
I'm sure. I'm
Yeah.
sure. I've heard nothing but great things about it. It was just before I started.
Oh.
And he's got a really cool line of roles to play. He does the Macbeth roles, Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow speech. He also does a character named Leontes, which may not be as familiar to people, but I'm a huge champion of Shakespeare's romances, the plays that he wrote towards the end of his career, where he combined comedy and tragedy. And Winter's Tale, where Leontes is the king of Sicily, or the king of Sicilia, if you will, it's sort of like Othello. It's the first part is Othello and the second part is As You Like It. So anyway, Trent will do a fabulous job with those very intense speeches from that play. And I can't wait to see him work on them.
And do they work on them individually and bring them in? Or is there,
Exactly. Yeah. We sent out the script over the weekend, actually, because we were still nipping and tucking a little bit. And we have a Zoom rehearsal tomorrow night with everybody, with Scott, and we'll go through it.
Oh, is Scott directing it?
Scott Schwartz is directing
Yes,
it.
wonderful.
Absolutely. And he will give us some notes and some tweaks and probably some little nips and tucks from me to as the adapter. So I'll put my adapter hat on and tweak it and get it into a nice lean machine ready for Saturday. Then we'll go and meet early on Saturday at the venue at the church there.
The venue is going to be the church.
Yeah, Christ Episcopal Church, 5 Hampton Street. There's that field there, and it's lovely. I've been there many times because Bay Street, of course, does their summer camps there, or has in the past.
Right.
And it's a lovely space for it. And there's lots of room for social distancing and picnicking
how
and Shakespeare.
super.
Yeah.
How super.
Yeah.
Now the performance is only 50 minutes.
That's right.
It's a short
That's
evening,
right.
but it's jam-packed with lots of exciting. Now, what are you going to do? Can you tell us? Can you share?
Sure,
what you're
sure.
gonna do?
My stuff. I have the sonnet, the winter sonnet, or the fall sonnet, I should say. I'm also doing a speech from Richard II that you may not know John of Gaunt. But there's an amazing speech where he says, "This sceptered isle, this royal throne of kings, this England." It's a very well-known speech quoted by Winston Churchill. Often I'm doing that one. I'm also doing Prospero from The Tempest.
Oh, wow.
And what else am I doing? A couple other things. I'm doing Polonius, unless it gets nipped and tucked, from Hamlet. He has a wonderful speech to his son Laertes. And, sometimes it's a little bit of a reach to sort of fit in with fall, but I thought that particular speech was a nice fit because it's about a son going away to school. And that's what happens in the fall. So that was my justification for sticking that one in. And it's a lovely speech. And frankly, it's humorous, it's funny, and we needed a little bit more lightness to the overall feel of the night or the afternoon.
Yeah. That's true. Your background in Shakespeare is all encompassing. When
Sure,
did you start?
25 seasons at a company in Georgia, at Georgia Shakespeare. It folded. And then I moved to Cleveland and worked at Cleveland Playhouse for 3.5, almost 4 years. And then lo and behold, I'm here in Sag Harbor at the wonderful Bay Street Theater.
Is Shakespeare your first love? Is it?
It is. It is. As far as I'm concerned, everything else in my life is gravy after being able to do Shakespeare for 24 seasons at a Shakespeare company. I mean, I've played some great roles in Shakespeare, but also, as many Shakespeare companies do, it's not all Shakespeare. You know, some of my best work there was in non-Shakespeare's.
Well, what was some of your
Mitch
non-Shakespeare?
in Streetcar Named Desire, I did, and had a lot of success with
Oh,
that.
I could see you. He'd be a wonderful Mitch.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah, and Dr. Truscott, or I should say Detective Truscott in Loot by Joe Orton was another
Oh,
one
I know
of my
that play
faves.
too. Yes, yes.
Yeah, that one. But I did Julius Caesar, which, you know, sounds like
But
a
the
huge
Shakespeare
role.
prepares you for anything, doesn't
It
it?
really does.
If,
It
I mean,
really
if you could do
does.
Shakespeare,
That's right.
I mean, and do it with an inner life, not just the language.
Exactly. Thank you, Patrick. Exactly right. It is great training for everything. And now in my career, since I've done a lot of that, that'll always be my first love. But I love film and TV acting now. That's sort of where my focus is now. Auditioning constantly for film and TV projects that are starting to come back a little bit more. I have
things been picking up now?
They have been. They have been. I actually have a project that I'm doing in New Orleans in a couple of weeks. With
What is it you're doing?
well, it's called, I guess I can talk about it, it's called Wicked, not to be confused with
You got me
the
confused
Stephen
already as soon as you
Schwartz,
said Wicked.
Stephen Schwartz project that is also filming, but this is with an organization called Passion Flicks. That's about 3 years old. It takes romance novels and turns them into teleplays or screenplays, and has a huge following for all the people out there that love romantic novels. They've turned them into films, and this is a cool project. If you remember, True Blood, that was on, I think it was HBO several years ago. It's sort of in that genre, vampires, fairies.
I don't know True Blood. I don't watch too much television.
It's a cool project. I think I'll have a couple days on that, and I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Well, let's bring you back to Sag Harbor.
Sure.
Where you, as a director of education, you put together some new programs.
Yes.
There is Don. What is it we're doing? Acting?
Yeah, Don Stevenson, Acting for the Camera.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
And it begins October 6th?
That's right. It begins October 6th. It's Tuesdays and Thursdays, 4 to 5:30.
Let's before we talk about it,
Absolutely.
let's show the little clip.
Absolutely.
Here, like a 40-second
Perfect.
clip with Don.
Perfect.
Hi, I'm Don Stevenson, and I'm going to be teaching Acting for the Camera at Bay Street online. I've performed in lots of Broadway shows and countless TV shows, and I'm ready to teach you all that I know about acting for the camera. We're going to do scenes from real scripts, real TV shows, and I welcome participants of all skill levels, including those who have never done camera work before. The class is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting October 6th through November 12th, 4 to 5:30. It's all remote, and I hope to see you there. Action!
So tell us now more about the.
Sure, Don is a fabulous teacher. He's primarily a director, but his acting credits on stage and on film and television are very, very expansive. He directed Lend Me a Tenor at Bay Street.
Acting for the Camera.
Yeah, Acting for the Camera, and that's specifically. Sure, no. It's specifically focused for acting technique. A lot of us are trained in the theater, and a lot of us have a hard time or a challenging time transferring our energy that's right for hitting the back row of a theater to really doing nothing at all for film and television.
And that's really the big trick, isn't it?
It really is, and not everybody can do it.
How you do less and keep it full at the same time.
That's exactly right, Patrick. That's exactly right, and that's what Don is a master at. And he's going to be working, it's really for anybody. It's not for people that have film and television experience. Anybody from a novice to people that have had some exposure to that type of work. It's an hour and a half on Tuesdays and Thursdays starting October 6th. And he'll give you scenes.
And it goes to November 12th. Right?
Correct. He'll give you scenes and teleplays from things that are being shot now in New York and Los Angeles. So you'll be working on Law and Order, SVU.
So if you're working on current things,
Exactly.
if you actually want to transition this to auditioning, you've got the practice for whatever the next step would be if someone wants to take it to the next level.
And he'll work with people on Zoom callback techniques, because that's what everything is going to be now. You know, you tape yourself for an audition, and then the callback with the casting directors and the director, wherever they may be, is going to be on Zoom. So it's going to be a great training ground for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's a whole different approach to getting a
Yes,
part.
it is.
I mean,
Yes, it
really
is.
dramatically different.
Yes, it
today.
is.
So have you ever, this is a new class, you've never done this one before?
Well, this is actually something that I'm very near and dear to my heart. We've actually done 2 on-camera acting technique classes here at LTV with a dear friend of mine. It's a New York casting director by the name of Megan Rafferty. We did one with her in July. I did a class here about this time last year in this very studio before everything changed. And it's very near and dear to my heart. And Megan's coming back, well, we're talking about it, November 7th. Again, open to everybody.
So you're going to do another class with her November 7th too?
10 to 1.
Oh, how wonderful.
In the studios here at LTV.
You get a double whammy.
We're going to go double whammy because, you know, it breaks my heart to say this, but theater, as we know, is not going to come back anytime soon. But film and television is already starting to produce within all the restrictions and regulations set down by the CDC. It's amazing how careful. Tyler Perry in Atlanta has done an amazing job.
Yeah, he's terrific.
Yes, of setting up the right way to get back into it. And everybody is following suit wherever they may be. Atlanta, Hollywood, New York are all following suit, hopefully New Orleans, and that's what's coming back. So yeah, it's great to have that kind of training, and Megan is fabulous. She has worked with Martin Scorsese on several projects as an assistant, casting director, Hugo,
oh wow.
Yeah, things like that. She also cast the first season of The Leftovers. Remember The Leftovers? An amazing story, show with Justin
I don't
Theroux.
know a lot of television,
Sorry.
unfortunately.
It's a fabulous show.
No, but I trust your judgment on it.
She was awesome on that, and is really so knowledgeable but so approachable. She's also an actor herself, so she is on both sides of the table.
Yeah, that's really important to be on both sides of the table like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then you have another program with Marsha Milgram Dodge, which is reading Ragtime.
Exactly.
Do you know the dates on that?
Sure. It starts the 7th of October, 5 consecutive Wednesdays, 7 to 8:30. They're going to read Ragtime, which is a project near and dear to her heart.
No, we have. Let's show the clip of Marsha, because she talks a little bit.
Fabulous.
Hi, I'm Marsha Milgram Dodge, and in 2010 I was nominated for the Tony Award for Best Director of a Musical for Ragtime on Broadway. I'm coming to the Bay Street Theater for 5 weeks beginning October 7th and going through November 4th. And we're going to spend 5 classes reading and dissecting and journeying on through the script of Ragtime. There'll be some musical elements and choreography elements. You won't want to miss this. I'm going to share all my secrets about how I reimagined this beautiful show for the Kennedy Center and then for Broadway. Won't you join us? Sign up at baystreet.org. Hope to see you there.
Okay,
Great.
Marsha.
Great.
Marsha's terrific, though.
Marsha's
But
terrific.
She's going to really give secrets about what she did when she was
She's going to give
directing it.
insights about Ragtime, and she directed a Tony-nominated production of that particular show.
Which I saw, which was...
Oh, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm
yes, it
sure.
was
I'm sure.
extraordinary, yes.
And she directed, I think, 9 times
I
at
love
Bay
that
Street.
musical, though. Oh,
Yeah.
it's-
It's. Well, it's funny, you know, we're doing our classes over at the Sag Harbor Whaling Museum, and Richard Doctorow, who is the executive director there, he's the son of E.L. Doctorow, who wrote Ragtime.
Right, yeah.
So that's a very cool connection there. And Marsha will lead everybody through the story, have them read it as if they're actors. She's also going to bring in one of the members of her cast to sing through some of the songs, and also a choreographer. So it's going to be very cool. And Marcia's so
What
wonderful.
will the choreographer do?
Well, he'll sort of talk through what the choreography
Was like.
Was like, exactly. There may be a little bit of Zoom choreography. You never know. People getting up and doing
That's
a couple
what I was
of
curious
steps.
about. If they could
Yeah,
get to,
we'll
they
see.
could get
Yeah.
that far. And
We
do
gotta
something like that.
bend the rules a little bit, because I think we're all ready to sort of bust out of Zoom, so to speak. And I think that's going to be an amazing offering. And she just did a class backstage with MMD, Marcia Milgram Dodge.
Yes,
And,
we talked about that.
Fabulous.
I saw a little bit of that too. I
Good.
didn't get to see them
Good.
all.
She had Julie Andrews on there, Peter Scolari, you name it. People from her production of Ain't Misbehavin' and Once Upon This Island. It was sort of a love fest for 8 weeks, with all of those people coming back and talking with
To
Marcia.
pay homage to everything that she gave them.
Exactly.
But it's a give and take, isn't it?
It
with the
really
theater,
is.
So
It really is.
Love how much it goes.
Yes,
round,
it
isn't
is.
It's a circle.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That was quite successful. So we love Marcia, and we love having her back. And speaking of Zoom, if I may, we do have a couple of really cool things coming up right on the horizon here. One of them
Are you
is...
going to do on Zoom?
Well, we're doing 2 Zoom theaters, if you will, similar to what we did with the gala, where we would shoot it and edit it and then put it on our website and send out links to people who purchase. Upcoming, we have a thing called Awake at Night, which again is an adaptation of Edgar Allan Poe stories for Halloween by none other than the wonderful Will Pomerantz, who, in
Bravo.
addition to being a director, as you know, is an amazing writer and adapter. And he's adapted things like The Cask of Amontillado and The Fall of the House of Usher into more contemporary versions. And hot off the presses, I can tease a couple of cast members that may be familiar.
Ooh, I'm
to
excited
audience.
already.
Daniel Gerald,
Oh,
if
wow.
I'm saying his name right. Many Bay Street appearances, I guess most recently Frost Nixon.
Mm-hmm.
And then Teal Wicks, Elphaba. I think she went in for Elphaba on Broadway, and also was Cher in the Cher show. And she's going to be in it, and many others. We're so excited about that. So it's the kind of thing where it'll be like pay-per-view. You pay for it, and you get the link, and you can watch it whenever you want, but it will be available around Halloween.
And it'll be like how long? Like for a long period of time? It'll
Yeah,
be-
that's a good question. I think it'll be available probably a little bit before Halloween and a little bit after Halloween for the season of Halloween Edgar Allan Poe stories.
And who's directing this?
That's Will Pomerantz
Will will
adapting
direct-
and directing.
And so she's adapting it and directing it,
Exactly.
but, it'll be wonderful.
Yeah, it's really quite wonderful. I took a look at it this morning and a little bit this afternoon. And then for
So
our
they've already
sorry.
started doing it then. In other words.
Rehearsals will start, I think, next week, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
very shortly for that. And then a
Now,
project. sorry.
is LTV going to shoot that too?
No, it'll be Mike Billings, our amazing production manager, who will be filming. It's a reading, but he'll be filming it very much in the way that we did the recent Noel Coward readings with Richard Dreyfuss and Marcia Mason, editing it, putting it together, packaging it. He will be doing
So
that.
he'll do all the editing.
Exactly,
Will
exactly.
do the directing in the technical. Of
That's
the, of
right.
the theater piece.
That's exactly right. That's
And then
exactly
we'll-
right.
Because that's the editing outside is really
That's
makes
a lot of
such-
work.
It makes such a big difference on how
Yes.
that comes off.
Yes, and we're trying to stretch the limits of Zoom, if you will, Patrick, so it's not just grid view or back and forth that we're all so used to with Zoom, but being a little bit more clever within the medium of Zoom, within the editing that is available
Yeah,
with that,
that's the
and
trick.
making it seem more theatrical. I think everybody who's trying to do anything theatrically and production-wise via Zoom is trying to be more creative within that structure. We're also doing for our Lit Live, and this is very fresh, Moby Dick, which I adapted from the novel with, again, the wonderfully collaborative Will Pomerantz, who will be directing. This is going to be our Lit Live production.
What's it going to be?
Moby Dick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Moby Dick, Herman Melville. I adapted it from the novel and created about a 50-page stage version, and I gave it to Will, and we spent the last 4 or 5 days collaborating furiously to come up with a script that would be Zoom-worthy, if you will.
How do you do that?
Good question. I read the book. It took me a couple of months to read the book. It's almost 600 pages long. And then I selected, you have to decide, what am I going to focus on with Moby Dick? Am I going to focus on the adventure story, the search of the great white whale, and Ahab's obsession with the great white whale? Or do you talk about the etymology of whales, and that's in there too? Or is it a religious allegory? Or is it a Shakespeare, because there's so much Shakespeare in there? And of course, for students, we wanted to focus on the adventure story and the search for the white whale.
That was the choice?
That was the choice. So I sort of chose the chapters expeditiously that focused on that, put it on paper, and Will and I came up together with a nice, very actable, I'm not going to say stage-worthy because it'll be on Zoom, but
your intention was to create it for Zoom.
Exactly.
So it wouldn't be stage-worthy.
Well, it was initially. Initially, my script was,
but
because I finished it before, I finished it
okay.
in March. And then I've gone back and we've created it for the possibilities of Zoom. And it'll be the same thing. It will be free to schools because Lit Live, thanks to many generous donors for Bay Street and supporters, it's a free program to students, so it will be free.
It's a terrific program.
It
How
really
long
is.
it's been going on for? I don't know.
This will be the 13th year, or excuse me, the 12th year of Literature Live. And
so many students have had the opportunity to come to the
30,000.
theater, experience theater for the first time.
Exactly.
They never even knew what theater was.
That's exactly
if it wasn't
right.
For Literature Live.
This will be something different for them. They can watch it as many times as they want. And it'll be available to them starting November 9th. There'll be a public opening night for the general public November 6th. And for the general public, there will be a fee a la pay-per-view, like Broadway HD or any of those things. And that will run through December 31st, end of the year. The program for students will end, I think it's December 4th.
And you can find all of this stuff at baystreet.org.
Exactly.
So you go to the website, baystreet.org. You can find out about all of these programs. There's a lot of exciting stuff that's happening. And I would want to participate in almost everything.
Please do.
Yes.
Please do, Patrick. Awesome.
So we have about 45 seconds.
Okay.
It goes so fast. Is there anything else you wanted to share with us about that we didn't hit on?
Well, let's very quickly, I'll do a very quick version of my speech from Hamlet. And you'll be my son leaving. Yet here, Laertes, aboard for shame. The wind sits in the shoulder of your sail and you are saved for. There, my blessing with thee, and these few precepts in thy memory look thou character. Neither a borrower nor a lender be, for loan oft loses both itself and friend, and borrowing dulleth the edge of husbandry. This above all, to thine own self be true. And it must follow as the night, the day. Thou canst not then be false to any man. Farewell. My blessing season this with thee. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.